Okay, we're going to do a little bit something a little bit different. We're going to use some secondary motion with rotation and position. Something really simple. So we've got our bouncing box. We might as well use it as a context. So if I play this now, what you've got is I've got two boxes stacked on top of each other, and I've animated them in a way where they look quite cartoony. They look kind of a little bit squishy, but they're not squishy. There's no squash and stretch going on, but there is secondary motion based on rotation. So we're going to cover that. So we're going to build these boxes first. Okay. I'm going to move this guy out of the way first. I'm going to build some boxes. So what I want you to do is just small box. Okay, and then another box on top, make it a little bit smaller. Oh, I've got my squash and stretch scale on still. Turn that off. A little bit smaller. And you can change the colours if you like as well to resemble a dude. And I'll do a yellow top. I'll do him a little bit lighter skin so I can see him better. I want to see his lines. Okay, so here we go. So he's gonna wait. So and I thought I'd do that because of the anticipation. Okay, so he's gonna wait and look for the block to be in the air. Now, before I do any of this, you'll see that if I move this, his head's not going to move. So I want to link these together. So I'm going to select the head and go to my link tool. I'm going to select the head and then link it to the body. So this is the child and this is the parent. Okay, so the body can move now, and the head follows it, and the head can move independently. Okay. Now I'm going to go auto key, and I've got a reference to work on. I know what I'm working on time, and this is going to teach you what this big key button does here as well, which is set keys, which is really useful. So I'm going to wait. Now we know that it automatically keys frame 0, but what if we want him to still be there at frame 10, let's say? Okay, then we've got no keys to copy. So this is where set key comes in place. So I'm going to go wait. I'm going to say, right, okay, so he is in the air. I'm just going to use mine as a reference. So he starts at frame 7 and he gets to where he's going at frame 15. So I'm going to use that as a reference. So frame 7. Now, if I make him get to where he is at frame 15, like that, it's going to create that frame, and I could copy that frame to frame 7 so that he waits. There's a wait in between. If I don't copy that frame 7, he's just going to go straight from frame 0, which is fair enough. He still gets underneath it. Now, if I don't want to animate that end frame first, and I want to say, well, I want him to start at frame 7, what I can do is I'm just going to grab both of them as well. I'm going to hit set key, and what that does is it plants a key for rotation, scale, and position for whatever you've got selected, and whatever state they're in at that present moment, and it plants a key into that frame. So that comes in really handy. So I'm going to say from frame 7 to frame 15, he's going to move that way, and now you'll see he waits. Okay. Now I want him to do some stuff that this other guy does, look a little bit squishy. So we're dealing with just these two frames at the minute for position, and I want him to. He does move fairly quick, so then the inertia is going to make him rock back. Okay, now this has already got a rotation key built into it from the set key, so I don't need to set a rotation key there. So I'm going to say, well, I want him to reach that point where he's rotated back around about frame 10, 3 frames later, quite far back because he goes quite fast. So zoom, there we go. And then I want him to stay at that rotation, but I want him to, maybe I want him to get the next rotation, which is the jerk forward when he stops. I want him to get to that around about frame 17. So I'm using the other one as a reference as well. Now the problem is, because these two are rotation ones, this is position, so it's got nothing to do with it. and there's nothing in between this. So this is going to try and get from this position to this position using this whole timeline in between. See what I mean? See the difference? Now I don't want that. I'm just going to get rid of that. So what I can do is just copy this frame, and what I'm essentially saying is at frame 10 he is rocked back. At frame 14 I still want him rocked back, because I want the jerk to be from the rock back position really quickly to the rock forward position. So then when I do this now, so he's still there, he's still there, he's still there. Now he transitions. Okay, boom. Okay, now I want a bit of secondary as well, so I'm going to do 2 frames and he goes back to normal pose. So I'm just working on 2. There we go. That's fairly nice. Now to give it that nice squashy, stretchy feel without actually doing squash and stretch, we're going to add some secondary with rotation onto the head as well. Now the head's already got a rotation key from before, but I'm going to have it rock back. Now this one is rock back at frame 10. I'm going to have this one rock back a frame later, because it's going to, the head is actually going to knock back a little bit after the body. So I'm just going to do 1 frame later. So I'm going to do this really exaggerated as well. So boom, it's all the way back. Now to make this even more exaggerated, what you can do is just at the beginning frame, just have this forward a little bit, and that gives the illusion that it knocks back a little bit more. Okay, so when he stops, again I'm going to use the same trick. I want it to still be in this position. Actually, what position does he stop? I think it's 15, isn't it? So I still want him to be there, so I'm going to copy this frame. And then that rocks forward. That gets to the rock forward, it's frame 17. I'm going to put this 1 frame later, so frame 18 comes back. And then 2 frames later, he's going to reach normal. Okay. There we go. And we got a nice boom head bob. Okay, and there you go for some nice secondary motion. Now I'm going to continue this on with another video of doing it with a little bit of squash and stretch and see how that works out.